Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing this morning? Yes, it's nice to have everybody here. I'm so happy and grateful that we all turned out in this number. I'm so motivated. Thank you all. So, without wasting much of our time, the purpose of our coming together is for me to take us through some presentation as to how the automation is going to be an effective tool in the manufacturing industry. Automation as an effective tool in the manufacturing industry. And as we all know, our case study is going to be the new medical device production line that we are setting up in this organization, and the way we're going to use automation to drive this process for us to have a better production process. I appreciate you all for coming out, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Let's continue. Our presentation objective. What is our presentation objective? In this presentation, we are going to see how communication is going to be made to and fro from production machine, and how they are going to be maintained for the purpose of automation. In order for us to track, trace, and control materials in the factory environment, the materials need to be identified with a unique identifying label, which is the UID. This material identification can be done in different ways. But here in this organization, all raw materials information will be handheld in critical manufacturing, which is an MES system, and the relevant information will be shared between critical manufacturing and the automation layer, which is going to be Scan, and we required using the API interface between the automation layer and the MES layer. So like I said, we are going to be seeing how communication to and fro production machines will be maintained for the purpose of this automation process. Introduction. So I would like to introduce myself. I know most of us know who I am, but for the purpose of this presentation and those who don't really have an idea of who I am, so I'm going to be going through a brief introduction. So my name is Adebola Adeolayinka. I'm a process control engineer here in this organization. I am from the information technology and the operational technology department, which is the IT/OT department. I joined this organization December of 2018. Yes, December 2018. And since then, I've been learning. I've learned a lot, and I've been growing alongside with my wonderful colleagues here at the organization. This is a very good place for anybody to learn stuffs and to grow. And prior to my coming to this organization, I have worked also at Texas Instruments, where I also work with a team that transitioned their legacy paper traveler, into the cutting edge platform called the MES, the Manufacturing Execution System, which I know we are already using it. So that's one of my big, projects at my previous place of assignment, and it's so good. My hobbies include ping pong. I love to play ping pong. I love politics, and I love socializing with friends and families, especially while discussing politics. I love to know this, what's going on around me now, for just, to kind of, brainstorm on how things can be better. So that's a little about me. If anybody have any other question they might want to ask, you might see me immediately after this presentation. Now it's time for us to do a little activities that I call an icebreaker. So this is just for us, you know, to take off all the things that we've been, you know, going through prior to getting here, so that, you know, we could focus on this presentation for the little time that we're going to spend. So I will ask every one of you, you know, all around, you know, pick a partner. This is going to be we're going to have it in two phases. The first phase is going to be like 3 minutes, while the second phase is going to be like 1 minute each for each of us that we are in the room here. So going forward, like I said, pick a partner and interview your partner. You know, what are you going to ask? You're going to know about your partner's background, the work experience, his or her hobby, and you know, so after that, that's just for 3 minutes. After that, we are going to come back and reconverge and now introduce your partner just in 1 minute, just a summary in 1 minute. So I think everybody could, you know, do that. We have only 3 minutes to do that, so I see you immediately after 3 minutes. All right. So thank you all for that. That's, I mean, it's very nice thing to know each and every one here. Um, you know, we've had different people with different background, with different work experience, different hobbies, and you know, it's just fun. I hope you all enjoy it. So yeah, going back to our presentation, we are going to continue with the overview of what the production floor is going to look like. As we can all see here at the background, we can see all these machines, which is an example of what we are going to have. You know, though it's going to be more than this, but it's just to see how the production line is going to be. And you know, this is an overview of how the new production floor for the new medical device is going to. And we can also, there is a handout that I've passed across, which shows a diagram, like an architecture, the system architecture of where what and what will be placed, each machines that will be placed. So we can go through that when we get back to our various desks. And you know, if anybody have any question, you can always walk up to me or walk up to the IT manager for better clarification. So but the handout has been passed around, and I hope you all got it. So that's that for that. Next, so the software environment for this production line, what will be the software environment? What is it going to look like? So there are going to be two servers. In order for us to deploy automation in the production lines, we require two servers, and these two servers are at different phases. The first one is going to be the sandbox, which is going to be just one single server, and the purpose of this sandbox is for us to be able to test in the process of our deployment. Well, before we deploy in our implementation phase, we need a sandbox, which is also a server, but it's just like a test server where we are going to put the application and we are going to run all the things to make sure that everything that we have installed is working. So it's just like a test server. So after we must have finished with that, then we are going to migrate that test server, which is a sandbox, into the production server. And the production server, we are going to have two, or we are going to have two, because we need one that will be running and we need another one as a backup. So for the production servers also, it's going to be a Windows Server 2019 standard 64-bit, and we are going to install Microsoft failover clustering. Is going to have Active Directory that must be available and configured. Also, we are going to have two Intel Xeon Bros 3204 processor in it, you know, because we need everything at, you know, as fast as it could. So we need a very fast processor. We're going to have a 32 gig RAM, you know. Into each of them, we're going to have one set of RAID RAID 1 storage media, which is going to be 480 gig SSD. So that means each of those two production servers will have 480 gig SSD, so that it will be enough to contain some of the traceability data that the machines will be pouring into the servers, because as the process is going, I mean, that's one of the essence of the automation, so that we could have where we could go back and pull data from of what has been done. So that is that. Server content. Also, for the server content, the server will contain the database of saved production data, like I said earlier on, and the materials, and it will also contain the configuration of the systems, the configuration that all the machines are using to run the automation layer will be configured on the server also. So the server will be configured, and this is going to be configured through a web-based interface called the configurator. So the configurator will be able to help us to configure the system and pour in there all the database for the saved productions and materials. So that is that. Software installation. For the software installation, the client PC will be located throughout the production areas, wherever people interface with the automation layer. One client's PC or laptop is required for each additional location where the automation operation interface will be running, and it must be connected to the same network as a PC server, particularly where products are populated. Also, the server, the network, the client application, all must be running at all times in order for the automation layer to operate. So there mustn't be any downtime. They must be running 24/7, because if anything stops, then it cuts and breaks the communication layer, which we don't want, because as a result of that, we may lose some data that the machines are producing. So that is that. And data that will be available. The data that will be available, we are going to have the item history. Under the item history, we have the floor activity tracking event. An example of that is when raw materials is initialized, is deleted, is loaded, is unloaded. We are going to have all those history of what has gone through every material. Also, we are going to have available information of event date, event timestamp, event type, operator, item ID, part number, item type, supplier, quantity, container ID, container type, location, split information, name it. Every information that is associated with this production is all the things that we are going to have in the servers, which we can go back to go and pull. So those are the data that will be available for us for every production. This is good because our customer can come and say, oh, I found that there is a defect on this part, please can I have the production history. It's going to be good for us to be able to go somewhere and pull all the production history, everything that has gone into that production. So that is one of the essence of automation, which I believe we are all going to see very soon. Data that will be available in automation also, like I said, it's the production history also will be there, the production series of steps, when it has been released, when the production starts an operation, when it completes an operation, all those things will be there. Also under that, the available information will also be the event date, the event timestamp, event type, the operator that ran that process, the batch ID, the board, the product serial number, the part number, the type, the operation description, if it's a solder screen print, if it's the laser scribing, if it's the AOI inspection, and the machine ID, the weight, and the process time. Everything is going to be available for the product history also. For the raw material usage history. We are going to have material use for a product and batch. Same also, just like the other data, we are going to have the event date, event timestamp, event type, operator, and every other information that's needed to be inclusive. Now, the system component. What is the system component? For us to be able to deploy this automation, like as we can see here, we have the automation server, which is the central, like the brain of the automation process. And so we're going to have the operator interface. We're going to have the product flow controller, which is the PFC. We're going to have the machine communication, which is the connect. That is the language that we are going to use for communicating between the machines and the automation layer. And we are going to have the data warehousing utility, where we store data. And so this is going to be one server and multiple components, which helps to increase performance. Also, having the server in a server room, is going to be more secure. The server is going to be in a server room. Nobody needs to interface with that. All we need to interface with is the operator interface and the product flow controller, and that is it. Everything is going to work as perfect as we want it. The automation service. What are the services that we are going to get in this automation? We are going to get the automation web server is going to have the automation configurator is going to require to run the COI and the POI, and is going to have the reporting. In the data warehousing utility, we are going to have the transfer history and traceability, data from automation database to automation data warehousing, and it's going to be running for every 5 minutes. For the connect adapters, we are going to, those are the ones that will interpret the machine event and transform them into the CAMEX event which the machine understands. And so for an example, I have pulled up this which is the plasma cleaner, and just for you to see how the production line is going to be after it has been automated. So like this, we're going to have a start operation. The start operation on this machine, will be done automatically after receiving the process data from the machine, and accordingly panel in time stamp information will be recorded. The panel in, the panel out timestamp information will build the same in this case, because at the same time that the panel goes in, it goes out, because the machine is very fast. So the difference in timing might just be little. So that is that for the process description. And also for the data collection, a connect adapter will be installed on the host computer, which will process the dot file generated by the PVC model, and also available process data will be collected for each panel. An item work complete event will be sent by the connect adapter that will indicate panel out timestamp information. So that is the way it's going to go. And what is going to be the data sharing with manufacturing MES is going to share the process data, is going to share the time that the panel goes in and the panel comes out. So that is that about that. So I hope the little presentation here has given you an insight of what the production flow is going to look like. Automating the new production line for the medical device product will enhance productivity. There is no doubt about that. It is going to increase yield, and is going to allow for data traceability for reference purposes, like I explained in the beginning. References, my reference is from the Kojiscan, trace, track and trace solution provider, because they are one of the automations layers that we are going to be using. So we can always refer to that back. Thank you for taking time to listen. I know you guys have questions, so this is the time for the questions and answer. And before you guys ask me a question, I'm going to ask a brief question. What do you understand by automation? And what do you think the benefit of automation is? Wow, thank you. That is so great. Okay, yeah. So I'm listening to your question. Okay, for your question. Okay, how long do you think? Yeah, for us to implement this, I think in 6 weeks we should be able to implement this perfectly well. Yeah. Yeah, thank you and bye.